Welcome everyone to Heroes of the Realm. I know last time you guys saw me, you guys knew me as Lady Wolf. We've moved on to bigger and better things. Heroes of the Realm is going to be sticking around for quite some time. So I'm obviously Lady Lore. Next to me here we have Sleepy, our current DM for the campaign that we will be recording for you guys to come over here and like watch and hang out and follow along with. This episode is going to be kind of a filler and a catcher up for you guys on some of the things that we as a group have been doing over the last year, and primarily about the campaign, Broken Chains, and following the group Bloom's Edge through what is about to be one hell of an adventure. We are a couple episodes into that already, which is why we're doing this, to kind of just catch you guys up, let you guys meet the characters a little bit, let you know what it is that we're doing, the places we've been already, and Sleepy's going to tell you guys a lot about the world that he created. Other than that, we've been doing a lot. Lots of D&D. We actually a lot. We have 3 campaigns going right now. The first of which is called Septum Solus, run by my husband. Many of you might remember Johnny. He is our forever DM. One of 3, actually. And he has been DMing Septum Solus for us for over a year now. We've come very far in that campaign, and we never recorded any of it. It's kind of our home game. It's where we started. A lot of us were brand new to D&D when we started doing this. We didn't know the rules. We didn't know how a lot of things worked. We were babies. So Septum Solus really helped us like get accustomed to the game, get accustomed to the rules. It kind of helped us form, every group has their own house rules, and we have a couple as well. It helped us, and it helped us get used to role playing and acting things out, because the first few episodes, like, it would have been so cringy to look back and watch those. Fun fact,
it would have been great though.
I actually have the recording we tried to do from a year and a half ago when we first started. We recorded
Oh God.
I have it. Yeah, I still have that, and it's awful. Maybe for funsies on the coffee account, which I'll get to here in a minute. Maybe I'll post a couple embarrassing clips from that. We recorded it, and we ended up scrapping it and completely starting the campaign over. We made it one episode, and we were like, nope, we got to start over. Like, it was rough in the beginning.
It was really rough.
Oh my God, it was so rough. None of us knew what we were doing. You could hear the nerves in all of our voices. Like, it was Johnny. It was a Johnny. It was rough, man. It was a little cringy to watch. But we got through it, and now we're like super comfortable in our characters. With 3 campaigns, obviously there's a lot of characters happening and a lot of different role playing and accents and all sorts of fun stuff. But with Septum Solus, if you're interested in following along with it, being our home campaign, I have already started writing it. Being Lady Lore Keeper, I'm the official lore keeper, meaning I am the official note taker of all 3 of our campaigns. I love it and I hate it. It's a blessing and a curse. Because of my various notebooks, I have about 6 of them now. We know everything that's happened at any given point. I've got so many names. Like, we keep track of everything. But it does also mean that if I miss a session, no one writes it down. So what I've been doing is taking my notes from Septum Solus and putting them into a more like detailed like retelling of the story. And where I started it was between my character and Sleepy's character here, Nymeria Tavren, and Get Wild, who's just, a simple fairy running around with a big hunkin' red-haired dwarf as bounty hunters. And the story starts with where him and I meet, and kind of how our adventure, being the oldest predetermined friendship out of the campaign, and from there it's just gonna I'm to the point where we're gonna write chapter 1 of actual Septum Solus. So if you guys are interested, go over to the coffee account and make sure that you follow the coffee account is donation optional. You don't have to pay anything to read these stories. I'm just really excited to be able to put them out there. So, donations are obviously wonderfully appreciated, but not needed to be able to access the stories. Later down the road, there's going to be tiers for that you can pay for, but I'm not in any rush to do it right now. I've got a lot of writing to do, so I'm just going to be focusing on getting all of the chapters written and all of the stories out as soon as possible. Past that, we do have a third campaign that we just started. I'm not going to say anything past that about it yet because we've done one episode and I really want to kind of see how it evolves before I decide how exactly I'm going to bring that one into play. But with that, I'm going to kind of hand it over to Sleepy because Broken Chains is his creation. He kind of birthed this. We're just along for the ride. So,
oh boy, it is a story to tell. Before we introduce our heroes, let's learn of the world still touched by the feet of gods, and the continent of Voltreya. Almost 400 years ago, there was a worldwide war known as the War of Lies that included many gods and primordial entities, as well as the many clerics, paladins, and warriors of the deities. Tens of thousands died in this war, including several gods on either side. It went on for an entire year before Sylvanas, Tyr, and Mystra combined their powers and sealed the opposing gods into the Astral Sea, and therefore ending the War of Lies. But now, we jump to the present day, onto the continent of Voltreya, once again plagued by war, but now by the mortal hands of the Lair Kingdom trying to claim more lands from the Vossarn Queendom. The Lair lands lay dying and corrupted by many curses caused by this war 400 years ago. This war, however, has been going on for the past 70 years, and for the first time has been under a ceasefire by Prince von Hoslera so that he could investigate who assassinated his father, King Orsten II. This is where we'll meet our heroes, making their way from their personal travels into
the party one day and just never left. Like, she had no reason to stay other than these people are kind of funny. And I really like the one with the white hair because she braids my hair a lot. Like, there were no real reasons for her to stick around other than she just really liked the people. Um, Everywhere she goes, she's singing or practicing a song or tuning her lute. Um, and basically, I mean, no one on the material plane knew of her before she showed up, mere months before she met the rest of the party, um, because she's not from the material plane. Her family at some point became very well known in the Feywild as musical instrument makers. Um, so seeing her, her love for music, it's definitely a family thing. And after growing up raised by her nanny Aseli, um, she was a wild child, and she just one day decided, I'm gonna go on tour. And with mommy and daddy's blessing and a pocket full of funds, she set out on her own. Somehow ended up in the material plane, wandering aimlessly. Uh, and showing up in a place where no one had heard the name Blue Jay. No one had knew who Mary Blue Jay was. She really had to start from the bottom, so she spent the first couple months there kind of just busking and playing in the streets for money, finding taverns that would be willing to let her play for a small percentage of coin. And that's exactly how she met the party. She was just playing in the Lights Call In, having a good time, making some cash, when she stumbled upon everyone else.
We go from Mary playing elegant songs and turn to a dark corner of the tavern to find a dark-haired, pale-skinned Shadowkai intimidatingly spinning her pistol on her finger. Renai, One Blue, Demeter Tamtail. She's wearing this long, dark leather jacket and another black crop top with some more black legs. She's watching very intently as more patrons start to funnel into the tavern, almost as if she's looking for someone or something. She came from the cursed lands of the Laren Kingdom, and with the ceasefire, she hopes to get away from her past. And then Githzerai, purple in color, wearing heavy armor, sitting, listening very intently to the elegant concert played by Mary. This is Muth Dreamweave. He holds himself high and just watches as everyone else pours in to listen to this, looking ever so elegant. Occasionally shoots a glance at Mary and then at Demeter. And then the door is opened once again, but this time to a more rambunctious crowd. First entering is a taller Viking-looking man with blonde hair, one eye missing, and one of his arms is scorched beyond belief, with tattoos. Sebring. He looks at the tavern, sees the concert happening, and gives a brief smile, and goes to sit down, ordering some more mead. Behind him, the deer man, Nasa correct, wearing nothing but a loincloth and his big bulging muscles, bolstering some strong milk, as he likes to call it. Behind the big deer man, the big Chad deer man, is a white haired, smaller looking human woman. This would be known as Kitsune, and later Mary's best friend. Holding out this large tome that's almost bigger than her entire torso, as she just walks in and finds a random chair. Doesn't even look where she's going. She closes her tome and looks about the room, almost gleefully.
Mary and Kitsune eventually become very close.
Mhm.
And it all started the day she braided Mary's tail because she had nothing better to do. They become the
There
best of
is
friends.
there is one other character, but we'll meet him later. I think now is where we start to get into the story of how you all met.
And this is also where we found out that Lady was absolutely Lady Lorekeeper, because
Mhm.
my notes don't start until episode 11. I tried really hard to be like, I'm not going to take notes this time. It's someone else's job. And for the
Mhm.
first 11 episodes, none of us players could remember shit. We couldn't remember a damn thing. We couldn't remember names. No one knew the name of the place we were staying. And by episode 11, I bought this book and I said, I am Lady Lorekeeper.
Mhm. And it's a good thing that I kept track of your all of your travels,
Thank
because
God.
no one else would know.
No one would know.
I think we should start a story now. As everyone is piling to this tavern, almost convinced they needed to be here, led here by a certain smell. The smell of lilacs, very well renowned apple pies. Demeter, the black haired young lady, sees this motley crew kind of come in and just sit at these random tables and decides to go sit with one of them, Sebring. It's a very weird sight to see this shorter young woman go up to this fairly tall Viking man. But they start to coerce, which grabs the attention of Moose. It gets their eye. And he decides to join them as well. Eventually, Nasak and Kitsune also come up to the table, and Lilac, the very cutesy tavern keeper, decides they deserve free apple pies and dances their way to the table, carrying a plethora of food and drink. Everyone almost instantly falls in love with her, as she's just the sweetest old lady. Eventually, Mary decides she needs to take a small break for her throat and joins this very motley crew.
I'm pretty sure that I knocked some cups over with my very large horse ass at one point
Oh,
or
yeah.
another, trying to get over there, if I remember correctly.
Almost tipped
Um,
the table too.
Almost tipped a table. Yeah, Mary was very tired from all the dancing while she played her songs. Um, and she kind of like, I don't know, she saw a group of people sit down and she needed some water. So, seeing people gather, she thought, wow, maybe they really liked my song. So maybe I should go see what they thought of the performance. And that's exactly what she did. Um, and they were her friends ever since. It was that simple for her. She was like, oh, you're nice to me? You like my music? You want to share something? It's a good time.
But after Lilac sets the food and drink down, she goes back to the kitchen to make some more. However, not that long after going into the back room, there's some loud thumps and crashes, maybe even a scream. Sebring and Kitsune are the only ones to notice the very low scream that Lilac put out. They go to investigate as a lot of the other patrons are starting to leave, leaving only about 2 commoners in there. Um, they try for the door, but it's budged. Something's blocking it. With the help of Nasok and Mary, they managed to kick the door open and send the cupboard that was blocking the door back onto the wall where it was sitting. But there's a sign of struggle. An open window. But no sign of where Lilac had gone. The group decides to investigate, and they see what looks to be a small pool of black liquid underneath the table where she was making some meat pies. And as the group investigates, they don't see any signs of where Lilac had gone until there's a thumping sound coming near the front door. A trapdoor. Sebring rushes over to the trapdoor and tries to open it. With the help of Nasok and Sebring and Muth, they manage to unlock the trapdoor to see Lilac holding a pretty big wine barrel, almost the size of her body, as she's carrying up this very rickety ladder. And she says that there was something in the corner down in the storage room. It was almost this very black silhouette. The group decides to go down, Mary included.
And it's
So
difficult. It's difficult.
it,
I got 4 hooves.
it was very tricky. But with the help of Sebring and Muth helping you down, guiding you,
My voice.
managed to do it. Kisune and Meter also joined Mary down there. And when they kind of lit up the room, they did see a dark, shadowy character in the corner, hiding behind a barrel. It was just crouching down. Didn't react to them shouting at it. It was almost as if it was a scared child just down there, hiding from something. But when they got closer, they saw these white, glowing eyes, and it was just pitch black. There was no skin color to it. And when they got too close, it lunged at Demeter. Demeter, quickly reacting, fired her very loud, very uh, bright pistol, but it just went back to crouching in the corner. And then there was more thumping upstairs, towards where the rooms were. Lilac cowering in fear behind Sebring and Nasok. More shadow figures appeared in the tavern and started making all the curtains close and the lights go dim. It was an attack. These shadows started attacking the group, helping the three ladies up. The group swiftly defeated this weird entity attack. They investigated the rooms a little bit more and quickly snuffs the rest of them out, putting Lilac at ease and letting them stay in the tavern for free. Though they had to share rooms with unlikely guests, it was nice.
This was when we, as a group above table, figured out that Mary can't sleep in a normal bed, also. So they had to make weird accommodations.
Unfortunately, she had to rest her lower body on the floor and her head and torso on a bed.
We spent about 20 minutes figuring this out before we continued on after we got to the bedroom.
It was an interesting time for sure.
They were nice rooms, though.
They were pretty nice
They were
rooms.
nice rooms.
But I think it's time for us to meet our last member. In the morning, everyone was up and ready for breakfast. Lilac happily giving you guys a nice, relaxing breakfast, almost like you were at home. As you all were eating, the doors opened before it was time to open the tavern. This green goat just walks in the door, everyone looking at it very intently until it turns into a man. This green skins, tiny horns, I want to say goat-looking guy, but he isn't. He just has horns, green skin, a nice goatee. This would be known as Knuff, later known as an Ancient of the Spectres, a troop in the Jiren Watchers, the Jiren Army.
Why are you green, bud?
That was the exact line that Mary said.
Why are you green? Are you okay? Are you sick?
The
He's
group
supposed-
accommodated to Knuff. They hit it off quite well, actually. He didn't say why he was at the tavern, but we find that out later. Sebring asks Lilac if there's any odd jobs that they could do after meeting this new friend that was eerily suspicious. Lilac leads them to the town square to hear Prince Lyran's speech about finding sellswords to aid in a search for the ones responsible for the death of King Orston. During the speech, though, In the trees, arrows and a burst of magic are fired at Prince Lyra. Bandits. Bandits somehow made their way into the city to attack Prince Lyra. With the help of Prince Lyra, who swiftly cuts through some of the bandits, the group and him deal with most of the bandits, leaving a young teenager wetting himself and teleporting away.
I forgot about that. Oh, that poor kid. That poor kid.
He's traumatized for
He's
sure.
traumatized for life. Like, oh, that poor kid. That was a poor judgment call on our part. We didn't trust no one.
Not shortly after we're dealing with all these bandits, a figure, this tall green furbolg, kind of has a druid aesthetic with a flower crown and three symbols of the gods around her chest, casts a spell that commanded most of the group to kneel and stay where they were, not knowing that they were protecting Prince Lyra. This would be known as Elgwyn Flowervale, the not leader of Jiren, but one of. Elgwyn takes the group and Prince Lyra to the council hall for questioning, later knowing that this group may just be enough to help them, as they notice Knuff with this group. They ask how the look for the shadow entities are faring. Now we know. Knuff is with them and looking into this strange shadow entity attack that seems to be happening all over Jiren, mainly on the western and southern sides. Sebring and Knuff make an offer to Elgwyn and the council. If they could help in any way, they would be grateful. With the promise of money, Elgwyn and the rest of the council sends them to Rubywood Row for what is a predicted shadow entity attack. Before they headed to Rubywood Row, they decided to hit up a magic shop called Eerie Mysteries, run by this smaller, pale blue skin, blue haired tiefling with a very interesting personality, to say the least. This place was cluttered. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say Mary loved her, but I don't think she loved Mary with all the shit that Mary's fat ass knocked over when
There
she
was a
went in
lot.
there.
Though it was her fault for not clearing up the clutter. This place was just covered in magical items and scrolls and books to the roof, basically. Some things were stolen by some of the group,
Mary stole some stuff.
which may have led to Eerie wanting to clean up a bit so she could see her patrons a little bit more. Eerie also requested some shadow essence from these entities showing up all over town, if possible, for experimental purposes. And Sebring made an offer as well for a certain rolled up dusty carpet. It looked pretty nice, and odd in this magic shop. With this, they took a night to themselves to steel their resolve, and eventually made their way to Rubywood Row, where they were told the shadow entity attack was going to happen at some point during the day there. Upon entering, you saw a shoddy looking district with haphazardly built buildings and shops scattered, people wearing nothing but rags, and it was a very sad sight to see. This is a fairly new district due to the war, where the refugees would stay, trying to get away from the war.
Mary took the opportunity and brought joy to the people by playing music very loudly through the streets as we wandered by,
It was very nice.
making a name for herself.
Until more music was heard, louder than Mary's. Another concert was happening just down the road. When the group came up to the concert, they saw all sorts of just different people watching as mesmerizing colors and fireworks are shooting off. And these two paler, kind of gothic looking changelings were performing a very lively concert. The male wearing very dark button up and gray pants with blue hair and piercings all up and down his ears, and a more petite looking changeling with white hair and pink and purple eyeliner and markings all over her face. It was almost encapsulating. Mary and a few of the other party were drawn to the front. And as the concert was ending, screams were heard from the other side of the road. As people were running, a few of the group saw this shadow pull a spindly looking old man into an alleyway and rushed to aid. However, to no avail. This old man was drained of his life. No physical markings, but he was very sallow. And with no trace of the shadow, as this is a very dark alleyway, the group continued to look for any way it could have escaped. Until Kitsune, at the end of the alleyway, saw a man standing there, looking, watching. She threw a firebolt at a nearby box to spook him, setting it on fire and lighting up this man's face. He was terrified, and he started running, but not for the reason they thought. Demeter and Sebring were very suspicious of this man and pursued, shooting into the crowd. Thankfully, no one else was hurt but him. Demeter shot this man's knee out and proceeded to question him. The group found out that he was part of the group making these attacks. Squirreling his way out of the grasp of the group, leaving a blood trail to a rather abandoned looking two-story house. Looks much older than the other buildings around. Uh, as the group entered this house, very carefully, very astute of their surroundings, they were attacked yet again by another group of shadow entities, and then screaming upstairs, like people were being tortured almost. Making their way to the second floor, they saw a group of commoners and the two changeling bards held by this weird shadow ring around them. The shadow entities started digging into the commoners and taking over their life, including Hart, the male changeling bard. As the group finished taking out the shadows, this large, armored drow came out of the back room with a rather nasty looking sword. It was a hard fight, seeing as the group is fairly new to each other and fairly new to battle as well.
They also got to learn a little secret about Mary and her loot.
That's right. You did
This
show that
is
off there.
this is where Mary showed off her weapon for the first time, and as the fight started, she did her signature move, where she rushes in, and as she runs, she strums a little strum and presses a little button, and as she does, a blade pops out of the neck of her lute, and it extends about a foot out, and the entire front edge of the neck of the lute has a blade that's like a one single bladed sword type situation, and she runs in. She does a little slice with almost a bit of a dance move to it, like it's very poetic.
It's very elegant.
And then she turns around and runs away. Thank you, mobile. Um, and was this also the fight that I showed off my amp as well?
I think so.
I think it was. I think it was. I wish everyone else was here to explain the shit that they did too, but we're the only two available for this.
Yeah.
I know we're the only two available for this with work schedules. It's been kind of hard to get this happening, get this rolling. But yeah, I at one point Mary was real over it, and she was hiding behind something at this point because she's a musician. She's not cut out for this shit. And
she did get very hurt.
I got very hurt. I got very hurt, and I was like, nope, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. My friends can do this. I'm going to go hide behind whatever this, I think it was like a wall or something. I don't know. I hid behind something, though.
You flipped over a table and
that's
hid behind
right.
Them, pretty sure.
That's right. I flipped over a table and was like, nope, I don't want to be here. Nope. And
that...
I shot a dissonant whisper. And when Mary does this, all you hear in your head is, you know when you like don't plug something all the way into the amp and it makes that really loud screeching noise?
Oh yeah.
I blew him up.
Well, actually,
kind of.
You hurt him quite a bit.
That's right.
But Demeter and Nasok quickly finished him off.
That's right. See, I don't have notes until 11.
Yeah, Demeter shot the sword out of the hand of this drow, launching into the door, and Nasok, with his great axe, cleaved him in half.
That's right.
Claiming the sword from the door as well. And with that, all the shadow entities besides the one left by Hart was left. They were able to claim some of the shadow essence for Eerie Dust, but they couldn't restore Hart back to his former self. Severing helped burn all the bodies with his sacred flame, and they buried Hart nearby so that Wetsa, his sister, the female changeling, could visit every so often.
And it was
Wetsa
about
was
it was about that time too that Mary felt really bad because she treated those two Bard siblings like they were her mortal enemies because they were competition.
mhm.
And she never should have. Sorry.
Wetsa was very grateful to Sebring and gave him a hug while crying. With that done, they heard trampling outside. It was backup that Knuff had called for before this fight in the house took place. The group gave a description of what happens, and the army took care of the rest of the bodies inside the house, while the others took refuge nearby. As it was getting pretty late, and it was a long walk back to the Let's Call.
We made quite a bit of money on that walk. That was
They did bust quite a bit.
That was the moment that Mary turned around and she hired Knuff as her music manager. Like, he became manager real fucking quick after this performance. He
Yeah,
helped with the
entire
collections.
Group.
Oh.
Yeah, the entire group went along with Mary's busking, and it actually turned out to be quite a nice performance to the city.
Yep. That is the day that we became Mary and the Blue Jays. At least to Mary. That's what Mary calls the group. Mary refers to us as Mary and the Blue Jays, but
As they were busking, they were making their way from Rubywood Road to the Jiren High Council to claim their reward for clearing out the Shadow Entity problem. This older-looking, very short, gnomish-looking gentleman, High Archivist Ainsworth Twistring, jots down the names of everyone in his personal records of being exceptional citizens. He seems to be very interested in the group's fighting prowess, as he clocks each one in the face very closely. After yet again putting on quite the comedy act in the street as they walk towards Light's Call again, they stop by Iridescent Mysteries to drop off the Shadow Essence and claim their brand new flying carpet.
and then all hell broke loose.
Yeah. You guys bought some brand new toys from Erie as well, and then made their way back to. Well, actually, it was during this that Nasok thought it was a good idea to try to steal from one of the nearby jewelry shelves, and like a bull in a china shop, knocks over almost every shelf.
It's those antlers. He couldn't help it. It's like Mary's big ass. We're just big creatures. We can't help it.
It's his giant antlers and his giant bulging muscles as he was trying to climb a shelf, knocking things off with his antlers, and then eventually falling back with the shelf, being landed on by it, destroying almost all the precious jewelry that was there, because they were not magical.
And oddly enough, somehow kind of catching Mary's eye.
Oh yeah, that was the point, right?
That was the point.
Oh.
Because she had successfully stolen something the last time we had gone shopping.
Mm-hmm.
And then she saw his determination.
With the destruction of the store, it triggered Erie's new security system that was a little too powerful, uh, but not powerful enough for this group trying to protect Nasak. Nasak was very keen on keeping his stolen ring that lit up, but with the help of Mary being very coercive, got him to put down the ring, which stopped the security and made them vanish once again. Uh, Eerie hides because this is very it's a very dangerous security system, but she can't return it, unfortunately. She'll have to make some changes to it.
In the end, it was Mary who got Sock to knock
It
it
was.
off.
Everyone tried, but it was only Mary with the kiss that stopped him.
Planted one on him. It worked.
Made this very
It's a pretty good tactic.
big muscle but childlike deer man stop his tantrum.
He just kind of went limp and stopped what he was doing for a second. It worked. It worked perfectly.
Well, one thing wasn't limp, that's for sure. The group leaves the store, Sebring flying on his brand new toy, the flying carpet. They get back to Light's Call, but not everything is as serene as it should be. It's very dim in the tavern, and Lilac might be out of town, or out of the tavern. Demeter decides to get close to some of the other group members. As her necklace, this almost demonic face with these large curved horns, starts to light up in the eyes. She tries to get one of the group into her bed, but she doesn't look like she's doing it intentionally. She's hurting as some blood pours out of her nose. The group think that she might be possessed or getting attacked from something they can't see. Seeing the necklace then light up again and again, every time it looked like Demeter was pained by something. They tried to take the necklace off Demeter, but she ran. She ran through the streets. The group eventually stopped her. Without they took some licks. Kenneth definitely took a bullet to the ear or two. They had a bit of a fight, an infighting. It was Mary that was able to keep her held back to stop hurting her friends. They decided that Demeter can't be left like this. They take her back to Light's Call, and she gives a brief story, a brief explanation of what needs to happen. She's possessed by a greater demon, an archdemon, known as Lilith, known for her lustful prowess. Her village is taken over by Lilith, and with that, has taken liberty over some of the bodies of the younger females, Demeter being one of them. Knuff decides to help Demeter,
Our
and
boy.
through a not so long session, but Lilith is satiated, and Demeter is safe for now. Through a very stressful and not so restful night, they decide to find someone that can help. Maybe. Lilac, hearing everything in the morning, said that they should go to the Guidance Hills, the multi-layered college for all ages and all sizes. There's a certain powerful woman about to give a speech in the noon. As the group ascends the very large hill through the multiple school buildings and all the different students wearing this similar blue and red robe, they eventually make their way to the meeting hall, where they saw this very strange but very beautiful older fairy. This later be known as Grand Mage Holly Periwinkle. Holly promised to break Demeter's contract with Lilith after the meeting, the assembly, assuming it will be done, but it will be a week-long process.
I'm realizing I forgot to tell everybody about a very important factor of Mary. And that is Mr. Blue Jay.
Oh yeah,
who
Mr.
has a
Blue Jay.
major part in what's coming up here. So Mary summons this little blue jay every day, an animal messenger. And with Sleepy's wonderful grace as our DM, he lets me kind of, for roleplay purposes, abuse the way that works. To a degree. But he's always on her shoulder. And a lot of times she'll ask him a question, and because he has to deliver a message and she's only thinking about herself 90% of the time, he just repeats the question to her, and then she answers him as if he's just talking to her. It's a very Timon and Pumbaa type situation. And by this point, Mary became pretty fond of Demeter. Terrified of her, but also very fond of her. And she was a little worried about the whole week-long process thing.
I also realized I forgot a very important detail in the running scene. After the Eerie Mysteries, they decided to go to the local farmers market, I'll say.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Forgot about this.
Demeter snuck off and bought a very nice necklace and a ornate box, and snuck it into her bag. It was for Sebring, who really helped her before Knuff stepped in. Sebring was also willing to take one for the team, but Knuff insisted. Back to the present, though. The group the next day heads to Holly Periwinkle's Onyx Tower in the Onyx Garden on the western side of the city. Demeter was very scared, but reluctant and told everyone to just hang around. And Mary thought of something with Mr. Blue Jay.
I was real worried. So, I told Mr. Blue Jay to go check on it. And I said, say something like, let him know it's me. Like, hi, this is Mary Blue Jay. I'm here to check on Demeter.
Mm-hmm.
So I sent Mr. Blue Jay every day for a full 7 days that she was there. And, he never really told me anything about what happened, but he did come, he did come back at the end of the day, like I said. And again, he just said he went to go check on Demeter. Like, he didn't really tell me any updates or anything, but he did go every single day, and he flew around
Every day.
every single day. Every single day, my little Blue Jay went and just bothered the, and this is why I said with the grace of Sleepy, he lets me abuse this just a little bit for RP purposes. He flew around all day, every day for 7 days, telling the guards outside of the room that Holly was doing this thing in, just saying, hi, my name is Mary, I'm here to check on Demeter. Hi, my name is Mary, I'm here to check on Demeter.
On the final day, though,
Yeah.
there were two statues in the room. One of a feminine-looking figure holding very powerful magic around her. The other, a 6-armed demon with very dark fire all around it. On the last day, the demon-headed statue looked at Mr. Blue Jay, and Mr. Blue Jay had a explosive reaction.
He blew up like a microwave.
Or one of those birds in Shrek 2.
I was just about to say, did you see the bird in Shrek that she sings to and he tries to mimic it and he just... That's what happened to Mr. Blue Jay.
Demeter was basically put under a coma under the watch of Holly. And every day Holly would attempt to break the seal between Lilith and Demeter. While that was going on, the group decided to stay in a more luxurious tavern in the Onyx Garden, not too far from the Onyx Tower, named the Obsidian Sanctuary, owned by a middle-aged elven woman known as Lady Anonymous. She was very exotic in her clothing, and mentions that she also runs a boutique called Enchante down the road. While the group waits for Demeter's week-long process to finish, Nasok decided to ask Mary on a date, where they had a very nice picnic in the middle of one of the parks here in the Onyx Garden. It was very serene and it was nice.
He presented her with a bonnet.
Yep, Nasok presented a very nice bonnet, which will also have some more symbolization later on.
It was a nice date. We had a little picnic. I played music, but it was a very nice little picnic, and we did talk a little bit about some stuff. Mary definitely played him a nice little tune. It really caught his attention.
This is also where you found out that he is actually a pretty charming fellow.
He is. Mary, she definitely thought that he was just a big hunk of meat, beforehand. The muscles were nice to look at, and it was
the
all that...
loincloth was, the
loincloth.
It needed to be changed, which he did get a nicer loincloth.
Oh, that's right! I forgot that, yeah, so, yeah, I forgot about that.
We really need to get him some pants soon.
We do. We need to get him some pants. So she definitely, she thinks he's an attractive man. And in this, date moment, she was like, oh, wow, he's not just some big, strong, milk-drinking, buff dude with nothing to him. He actually has He actually has a really sweet, like, little personality hidden underneath all of that.
Everyone bought some new outfits during the week. They
I
all kind of went
stole
together.
one. I stole one.
She
And
did.
it was too small for me, so I gave it to Demeter.
And Sebring also bought a gift for Demeter in a really nice red dress for Demeter as a thanks for the necklace that she got for him. Through the week, everyone kind of took their time alone as they've been spending a few days together. But it was a nice, refreshing day or week for everyone. On the seventh day, after Mary sent Mr. Blue Jay to get poofed, Holly called everyone later in the day because she figured it would be nice for everyone to be there for Demeter if this happened or if it didn't. Everyone gathered around Demeter as Holly made this almost rainbow prismatic bubble around Demeter and the necklace. And with a little magic here and there, broke the necklace, shattered it into pieces. But Demeter still isn't looking up. It was very strange. Until Sebring and Mary and Kitsune placed their hands on hers. Demeter woke up with a very sharp shock and was very confused on where she was, as she has been in coma for a week. There was there's a lot of ooey gooey stuff and some glad you're okays. Until these weird shadow portals opened up. A Shatterkai from Demeter's village and a few shadows and doppelgangers showed up to attack Demeter for betraying Lilith. Swiftly, with the help of Holly, who was fairly drained of her magic, swiftly brought down Lilith's forces, and there was almost nothing left of the female Shatterkai from Demeter's village. Nasok was branding the sword that he got from the drow in this fight, and it was whispering, plotting, telling Nasok to kill, consume. And everyone caught notice of this, Mary specifically, and Holly, after some healing was dealt out, went over to Mary and said, "Be careful of that one. He carries the cursed object." And then Mary shouted, being as aloof as she is,
Mary knows no bounds. Everyone! Sock's got a cursed weapon on him and it's not gonna be good. Holly just said that we should be really careful. Sock, you got anything to say about this? And thus began the conflict. You're welcome.
everyone tried to get the sword away from Nasok, but Nasok was putting up a fight as he did for the jewelry in Eerie Mysteries.
And just like she did before, she saw an opportunity to kiss the big muscly man. And she
it
did.
worked.
And it worked.
And thus Holly made the swift decision to plunge the sword into an anti-magic barrier around the demonic statue that had blown up Mr. Blue Jay before. Um, with the sword plunged into the anti-magic barrier, it unleashed a rather sinister being held within the sword, later known as the Jester of Moander. A right-hand man to the god that Nasok was secretly praying to. This being was very tough to bring down. However, dealing heavy blows to this monster, leaving it to teleport away on the brink of death, to later cause more chaos. A lot of the group was very, very heavily damaged and needed to rest. Holly especially was very damaged by this encounter. So the group headed back to the Obsidian Sanctuary to rest, where Nasok drank a peculiar potion. Or, actually, no. Demeter had spiked his strong milk with a potion that she had found in the abandoned two-story building in the Rubywood Row, which caused him to melt into a malleable puddle of water,
I
which
forgot about
made
this too. Oh my
which
god.
made everyone have a good night watching him make an infinity symbol to sleep. It was a very weird night, but a very fun night for everyone. The group decided to make their way back to Lilac and say, tell her all about their adventures. But when they got there, Lilac was very strange. She offered the group meat pies, but was very sinister in her speech. With the breaking of Lilith's necklace on Demeter, this caused Lilith to send some recon. This recon traced Demeter's steps, and Lilac unfortunately met her end with a doppelganger taking her place. This doppelganger in particular was not very fond of Demeter and how close she was with Lilith when she was under her control. Was very happy that Demeter broke off. But everyone eventually found out that it was Lilac that was served in the meat pies. And it was a very sad experience.
It was very sad, and Mary got profusely sick finding out this information.
That she did.
Profusely. It was a bad time. It's a very sad time.
With this sad experience haunting them, they thought they should get revenge, but it wasn't the time. Demeter told them all of Lilith's strength, and that they should just wait it out, unfortunately. There's another target to find. They spent their night in the Lights Call, their last night, unfortunate as it may be. They made their way back to the Onyx Garden and to the Onyx Tower, where Holly promised a necklace to find the Jester of Moander. With disheartened stares at each other, they steeled their resolve to find this demon before it caused any more chaos. While waiting for the necklace, they stayed one more night at the Obsidian Sanctuary. Nasok and Muth had a little walk and talk. Because Nasok was feeling very sad that this happened to the group because of him. During this night, Demeter had a dream, unlike she's had before. She was put into this very dark room with nothing but a altar and 3 ravens on it. All of a sudden, a very blank, white, featureless mask appeared behind the altar, claiming to be the Matron of Ravens. The matron offered Demeter some knowledge of her past. Her grandmother and mother were priestesses of the matron, and asked Demeter to be the same, as the other 2 are no longer in this world. Demeter reluctantly agreed, and in return for the powers, she also got a raven familiar that no one else can see. His name is Moonin. She woke up with a new tattoo along her collarbone of 3 ravens, that being her holy symbol to the matron. In the morning, when Muth and Nasok took their walk to talk, Nasok turned on Muth in a dark alleyway, where they exchanged blows and slices. Nasok tried to convince Muth to turn to Moander's side, because Moander reached out to Nasok to try to get him to be his Shadowbringer, defeat Nazanathel, the Jester, and become his new Jester. But Muth denied. He remained to his oath and swiftly brought down Nasok. But after the fight, Muth turned around to see Nasok being cocooned in these decaying vines and sinew-like fibers. And a snake head pops out of the top and says to Muth, "Run, or be devoured." Muth then quickly tried to find the rest of his group. They managed to get Nasok out alive, surprisingly. But they brought him to the High Council with the help of Knuff's advisor, Reuben Night Sky, the leader of the Spectres, uh, shackled Nasok and brought him back to life. Holly eventually showed up at the High Council with the necklace that she promised and a handful of supplies. Reuben also gave them some supplies and uh, offered them a carriage and some horses.
Mary
Knowing
did
now,
not want to be the horse for the carriage. She threw a very big fit about
Yeah.
this, actually.
she did throw a very big fit.
Yes. Someone suggested that Mary could just pull one of the carriages, and she turned around and said, "The fuck she will? Absolutely not. I do not do that kind of work. Thank you."
Reuben also shared some knowledge that Prince Lara had gone missing. The same time Nasanathel, the jester, teleported away. Thinking they were in cahoots with each other, they requested that now Bloom's Edge in remembrance of Lilac should go defeat this demon and find Prince Lara.
And our lovely Johnny, who plays Seb, made this lovely picture to be the Bloom's Edge emblem and symbol. He worked very hard on it.
He soon branding the necklace to find Nesnathel, pointed in a northwestern direction towards Bournefront, the Bashan city of the Giron Wilds. And with haste, Bloom's Edge made the week-long trip, dodging hill giants of all kinds throughout these wilds, throughout this mountain path. Sometimes almost dying. It was very close at times.
Mary got real hurt by a fireball at one point.
Yeah. Upon reaching the large walls and gate of Bournefront, you're greeted by the captain of the scout squad, Captain Ronagash. A tall half-orc man with brown hair, and his crew with these strange cloaks that they managed to glide off the tall walls with, and these swords with long-reaching wires that they could skim across the ground with or climb great heights. They made sure to write down your names, and two of the bugbear of the squad made some very detailed designs of each and every one of you. They pointed you towards a tavern called Hobie's Waterhole. You met this tiny older goblin woman, Hobie Cracks, and her husband, the chef, Tuk Tuk Cracks. This group took very kindly to Tuk Tuk as he made this grand display of making food for each and every one of them tavern. It was pretty great. They were also pointed towards a few of the stores once they got settled in. Kashki's Killings, a weapon shop owned by a older, very battle-hardened Gnoll male. with this weird, bulbous, pussy eye that was later healed for a discount by severing. They picked up some of these cloaks and swords that Captain Ronagash and his crew were using.
Most of them did, that is.
Unfortunately,
Mary,
Mary was a little too heavy for these items.
and they said Nosok's antlers were too dangerous.
Hmm.
So Mary didn't get to use the swords. She didn't get to do the really fun thing that she was really excited about trying to do because
But
of her giant
you,
horse ass.
but you can stay back and sing of their great acrobatics from
Yes.
behind. After healing Keshki and getting a nice discount on all their new fancy toys, they made their way to a oddity shop known as Rusty Keeley's, owned by a large orc woman known as Rusty Keeley, who knew next to nothing about magic and had these grand magic items just out for display for cheap, most of them, anyways. She even had to read a book on what some of these items were. It was very cute. After purchasing basically every magic item in this oddity shop, as they
That's
were leaving,
that's where I got my hole, isn't it?
yes, that's where you got your
Yes, that's
portable
where I
haul.
got my portable hole. Mhm.
Mhm. Upon as exiting Rusty Keeley's and hearing some childlike laughter as you guys left, uh, everyone besides Mary and Nasok felt an intense bloodlust that froze them for a second, and some of them heard their gods talking to them of this extreme evil. And then this loud, familiar, deep, dark voice laughing at them, telling him to find him. The jester was waiting beneath the city. It wasn't until the next day when everyone in the tavern was looking for loved ones, friends, that the group realized the jester has been eating the folk of the city ever since he escaped, gaining power from them. And then they saw Hobie looking for her husband, Tuk Tuk. Everyone was again heartbroken at the loss of a beloved small character and vowed to bring him back or bring something of him back. With their new shiny swords, they were able to, most of them were able to climb the roofs and scale walls to find this alleyway bathed in coagulated blood, dripping into the basement of what seems like a crypt. And this is where the jester, Naznathel, has been feasting on the many denizens of the city. The group eventually made their way down these broken steps from what seems like a large entity has broken the steps with uh, each step in their pace. The jester is definitely down here. With some scouting, they noticed nothing in the room until severing threw a coin and lit it up for all to see. And in the very edge of the light, they see an even bigger, buffer demon with this riveted tail, almost like a scorpion's tail. It turned around after feasting on something, and battle once again commenced. Suffering some very rough attacks, Kitsune was stunned almost the entire time and brought very low, almost devoured by Naznathal. The group swiftly took out Naznathal and his shadow soldiers. His entire body turned to ash, except for what pouches he had stolen from the townsfolk and his tail. But his tail had the hilt and pommel of a sword, but it was like a bone texture. Quickly, they picked up everything that Naznathal had dropped, and with the shaking of the cavern, they saw in the middle of everything this giant black orb start to emanate, and the crypt was starting to fall to pieces. Sebring handing the flying carpet to Mary so that she could get up very fast, and the others using their swords. Everyone eventually made it out, but this large dark sphere made this huge hole where the crypt once was, causing the alleyway that they were in to start to crumble, taking down some of the walls of the nearby houses. The army, responding to sounds of battle from this crypt, came around the corner, and while the alleyway was dropping, they went with it. Before they left, Sebring found a piece of clothing that belonged to Tuk Tuk. In that night, Demeter and Sebring told Toby what happened and gave her the piece of tattered clothing that belonged to him the night before. With everything, even all the death and despair and the missing people, everything seems calm again in the town. Toby, now knowing what happened to her husband, went to their adopted son, Tim, who was a soldier nearby. Ken went to the local barracks nearby where they were staying, learned through some sending spells that Jiren was attacked while they were fighting this demon. Lyran masks, Lyran soldiers had somehow mass appeared in the middle of Jiren, suffering the town with all sorts of burn marks and explosions and razing the entire barracks section where Ken once stayed with some of his buddies. And learning that Ruben may not be around anymore. It's unknown. During that night, Muth had taken the sword that came out of Naznathal and put it into his bag of holding. Nasok, thinking he could be the ever so silent deer he should be, but isn't, tried sealing the bag of holding to get to the sword. This turned into a friendly, but not so friendly, arm wrestling competition for the sword. Nasok cheated a few times, causing Muth some pain, which then turned into a loud grunting fest, which woke up most of the party and a lot of the patrons. And then it turned into a wrestling contest due to Knaf's meddling, pushing them both down to the ground. And for some reason, the patrons who gathered into the room due to the loud deer calls and grunting and yelling, it turned into a fight ring where there was betting on who would win.
Mary started playing music. It was a good time. Wait, no. Did I start playing music, or was this where I came out of the room holding Kitsune like a teddy bear and told everyone to shut up?
You came out of the room, grabbed Kitsune like a teddy
That's
bear,
right.
and went back and were basically suffocating Kitsune between your breasts.
Yes, that's right. Nothing sexual either. Like, I just needed
Yeah.
someone to cuddle with.
She was just a teddy bear. She was the tiniest thing.
Back home, Mary was very used to sleeping with like 20 pillows and like 6 stuffed animals. So she was just trying to get cozy to ignore all the noise downstairs. Beauty
And
sleep.
this was also the first tavern to accommodate to Mary's size because of all the orcs and ogres and other denizens.
I forgot about that. They had a bed big enough that I could fit my giant horse ass and the top half of my body into it and lay down comfortably. So I was kind of curled up. Like, you ever seen a horse lay on their side when they sleep? You know how they just have to lay down on their side because there's really nothing else they can do? Well, I did that, but then I had Kitsune like this. She puts up with a lot from me. She really does. She's such a sweet girl. She's such a sweet girl.
But Kitsune definitely loves you right back, that's for sure.
She does. She does. We became besties very quickly. She's just such a sweet soul. She braids my hair and my tail all the time. She keeps me looking top tier. Hired her as my hairstylist at this point. Like, she's great. Great. Mary loves her a lot.
Muth eventually wins the wrestling fight that was happening in the other room. And the patrons were nice enough to give half the bed gold to him as the winner. And Muth was nice enough to give the sword to Nasok, even after all the cheating. In the morning, Ken told everyone of a teleportation circle they could use to get back to Jiren, and letting them know of the news of what happened while they were doing their battle. In the morning, also, when Knaf was telling everyone about the teleportation circle and what happened in Jiren, there was a strange satyr that had called out to Mary at a nearby table. Mary's maid and childhood friend, Sally Gingeridge.
See, she showed up because as soon as this whole war thing came into play, as Mary did weekly per her parents' circumstances of her going out on her first tour by herself with no security or anything, she had to check in. So at one point in the recent past, she had sent a letter to Mommy and Daddy mentioning, oh, I met these friends and it's so great, and there's a war that started, but it's okay because I'm just going to travel and tell the world about it. And I like threw it in there very casually. And Sully practically raised me. I mean, she was my nanny, she was my caretaker, she was my primary caretaker because my parents just worked all the time. They loved me and they were great parents. I had a great childhood, really. But Sully was like my right-hand person. Whenever I was getting in trouble or being a difficult child, she was the one dealing with me. She was the one reeling me in. So Mary knows her really well, and Mary, as soon as Sully shows up, the party really starts to see a different side of her that she didn't fully present until Aselli showed up.
And Sally is this 6'5" satyr with very red hair and these tiny horns that peek out from her very red fiery hair. And she's wearing this black and white tux and always has one hand on her stomach and one hand out, almost like she's always carrying a food plate, but it's just looking presentable. Mary was told that Aselli was there to bring her back home due to the
Nuh-uh.
war.
Nuh-uh, Aselli.
But
Nope, I'm not going. Mm-mm. Nope, you
Mary,
can't take me.
being very persuasive, asked Aselli if she could stay just a little bit longer. Aselli, being the also chaos maker, said yes and would tell her parents she would make sure she was okay for the time being, and if a problem were to present, she would drag Mary by force. But it's okay for now. A deal was made, and Aselli is now traveling with Bloom's Edge. They then go to the northern side of Bournefront to the barracks with the teleportation circle. And teleport back to Jiren. Though they are teleported into a room with a broken down wall, and they could see out into this very burned treescape. It's scorched all over town. This mansion that they're in, all the walls are starting to crumble from the explosions. There's bodies of soldiers laying on the ground all over the place with white blankets over them. There's bodies under rubble. Just destruction and death. They're escorted to the study where Ainsworth Treeswing is sitting at the desk of General Valorale Sunfall, who is part of the council, but is unavailable currently. Ainsworth told them what happened and showed them to the room where General Valorale Sunfall and Ruben Night Sky were. Ruben laying lifeless with a sheet covering him, and General Valorale Sunfall missing both of her legs and an arm and unconscious. Ainsworth told Knuff of a secret assassination team being made in Ruben's disappearance, and asked if Knuff would lead it, as he was very close to Ruben. Knuff, being very undecided, said no. And thus Ainsworth agreed, as Knuff wasn't really a part of the Jiren Watchers. He was just there as Ruben's friend and an outsider. After all that, Sebring asked Ainsworth if they could buy the Lights Call Tavern, and happily, with 100 gold, they could. And with some renovations being done to it.
An elevator, for example, so Mary could get up and down from the bottom floor to the top floor with ease. That took
Mm-hmm.
some time to get installed, but it was there because I damn near broke all four of my legs the first time.
Mm-hmm. But now the group has a home in this scorched city that they could return to. The group made their way to Holly's tower again to tell her of their success. As they came to the base of Holly's tower, they saw all manners of tents and bedrolls and sick and hurt people that Holly and many of the clerics have been taken care of. After they spot Mary and Mary brings them inside her tower, she tells them that though they defeated Neznethel, Moander's power has been increasing, and he could break free of his astral prison in the Voiceless Cave. She gave them a day to prepare, get anything they needed, and would set out with them to the Voiceless Cave, which is northeast of Vosron. They spent the night, after preparing themselves for the trip, they spent the night as tavern keepers. Um, they went and did a supply run and just did a full night while Mary made a concert in the
We
tavern for
had a
patrons.
grand reopening. It was lit. We
It was
we
great.
I started off the concert with a song I wrote specifically for Moose. Actually, the debut first single off the album of Mary and the Blue Jays. Um, and for listening later, I'm gonna make the songs accessible for you guys to listen to at some point. So stay tuned for that because Mary is literally writing an album. Um, we had a new drink menu put out, strong milk, which was added to the menu that Lilac already had in, Sock's name. And then Ken came up with a really good one that we're now calling Mexico con leche. It
Which
was
made
wonderful.
everyone fucked up
We
because
had a night.
Kitsune was trying to learn how to make drinks with Ken, and they came up with this. Kitsune, not being very well versed in alcohol, had a good night's sleep.
She passed the fuck out, bud. On the floor, face down, drooling. We
When
put
you
her to
make
bed.
drinks, you gotta test them.
Yep. Mexico con leche was a good time. We also determined that Ken was going to start receiving some benefits from me as my manager. He made a good point that there was no health insurance set up, there was no pay, there wasn't any real structure to it, and he was going to need some structure if we were going to keep going. So I got things set up for him in that aspect. I also paid Kitsune since I have hired her officially as my celebrity hairstylist. It was a crazy reopening, and honestly, it was a great night that we definitely deserved. There was a lot of crazy, a lot of death, a lot of things, and so it was a good first real night that we got to spend just like enjoying each other's company. A lot of real, a lot of bonding happened, and Muth loved his song. He loved
Yep.
it.
Nassok went on a bar crawl to get patrons to come to Lights Call instead, passing out at the second bar he went to in the alleyway.
He did have a few Mexico con leches before he left. He pre-gamed.
Mhm.
That was his mistake. He should have just rolled with it. But nope, he pre-gamed with us, and we lost track of him for the night. He was the friend who wandered off that you normally don't let wander off. He wandered off.
Sebring and Demeter had a wonderful night. And in the morning, Sebring took these three refugee half-orc siblings and asked them if they wanted to help them run the tavern. Which, honestly, it worked out because the older brother, Mark, was an excellent chef in the city of Osron, where he came from. The middle child, Bella, was a very charismatic young half-orc woman, which made her perfect for running tables and bringing people in. And the youngest, Jack, was muscular yet lanky and loved cleaning. And they got their own room, the three of them. They took the manager's room, where there were 3 beds for them. After that, after getting everything settled, Holly took you guys to the northern gates of Jiren, where she could pull out a prototype skyship, which a lot of the group was not keen on. Skyships in this world are very rare. There's only 5 made. They're a new technology. But this one was more fleshed out for Holly's magical ways.
Mary discovered that she gets very motion sick.
Oh yeah.
Very motion sick. She doesn't do well with her hooves not on the ground. Flying is a new experience for her, and she doesn't like it. Mary literally spent the next, I don't have all the notes because there were a few sessions I had to miss, unfortunately, due to work. But basically, I spent the next 2-3 episodes that I don't have notes for, just sick on the ship. Poor Aselli was covered. It was like me being a child with the flu again, dude. It was so gross. I was so sick for the entirety of all of the trips.
Aselli is very, very tired after dealing with a very, very sick Mary.
I'm just yelling the whole time. You can hear me from across the ship.
The first few days were rough for some, but they were the roughest for Aselli and Mary.
I even played third wheel one night because we were able to land to sleep. And Seb and Demita had this really sweet moment by the fire, and Seb was really sweet. He was like, Mary, why don't you come down here so that you can get your senses back, be grounded for a little while. So I did, and I slept in the dirt.
And then in the morning, it was a very bad rainstorm, which left them all muddy. Mary yelling, waking everyone up, even including the not so morning person, Aselli.
Sally!
Who cast gust on Mary, sending all the mud onto Sebring.
This wasn't in my fucking contract. It wasn't.
That was such a great moment.
Oh, it was so much fucking fun. Oh my god. And then I got back on the airship and just got sick again all over again. So this is where Sleepy's really going to pick up the rest of this, because Mary was incoherent through everything that's happened after this. Everything.
After that night, it was a smooth trip. Though one night there was a harpy attack with Mary and Kitsune helming it. And then the next day, a young crystal dragon by the name of Vaifug the Bright attacked the ship. Was very, very hungry, as per Muth's teleportation, smooth acrobatics onto the dragon's back and pushing into the dragon's minds, trying to coerce it into being a friend, or being pushed back, and getting thoughts of consume, kill, consume. Nuzlocke trying to be just like Muth, as they've been adversaries and allies alike.
Showing off a little bit.
Tried to jump onto the dragon's back again, or as well. However, making one mistake and going head over heel, tripping over the banister. Mary, scared of losing him, cast a feather fall on him before going out of her sight, which saved him. Luckily, the dragon, seeing an easy snack, went for it. However, only managed to swipe at him once before having its head explode due to Mary.
I got real scared and I got real upset. And I did that amplifier noise thing that I do where I sent the most untuned, awful, screeching musical noises. Every wrong note you could hit on an instrument hit in that thing's head as loud as it possibly could. And as Mary stood there like this with her, because of how sick I was, I had my arm like this wrapped around a major like pole on the ship, anchoring me in one place. And I just kind of stood there like this and yelled really fucking loud, and then its head just exploded. I didn't even know I was capable of such a thing, but its head just exploded everywhere. And it's inspired Mary to write a metal album.
Sebring hopped off the ship to grab the deer man, who was spinning like a bright green spinning top due to he drank a potion that made him very light green. And with the help of Holly knowing how to steer the airship, pulled the lever which made the airship drop to safely collect the other two. The next few days went on unopposed, and they were entering the Dockhell Sands, where the dunes reach into the sky, and death and decay is everywhere. About a day into the Dockhell Sands, the sky blackens in the middle of the day, and very bright, colorful patterns filled the air. It was a vibrant storm, which caused most of the party to go blind, including Mary, who then started dry heaving even more than she already was.
My stomach hurts so fucking bad, bud. Solar plexus right here, just awful.
Thankfully, with the help of Aceli putting a sleep spell on Mary and making her finally stop dry heaving and making everyone else also sick.
I took a very long snooze. A very long snooze.
Everyone else cured their blindness and continued on with the day. However, the sky's still dark with colorful patterns everywhere. Knuff took the crow's nest because Kitsune was still also blinded. He spotted a desert city and what looked like a temple in the middle of it, and asked if they could set down, maybe look for something that will help them in the upcoming prison run. So Holly agreed and went with them into the town, where they discovered it was littered with undead and weird slime that were hidden in the sands. Through a pretty nice plan of making Nasok a loud dinner bell, basically, running around the temple, drawing out the undead, they swiftly cleared what they knew was the entire town. They then went to the temple to search around for hidden treasures, where they found the temple was dedicated to Kelemvor, the mad god of death, who, through Sebring and Demeter, they found out that Kelemvor was killed in the War of Lies by the Matron of Ravens. And Demeter felt unwelcomed. Though they did find some treasures eventually. Ken also found thieves' cant of some other temple raiders saying to not go down to the basement, where there is a mass of undead. It's too dangerous to go down. However, Knuff, seeing it as a way to mess with the party, said that there's a lot of treasure down there instead.
I missed this, and I'm so glad that Mary just stayed on the ship because
Oh
I
yeah,
wasn't there. So
Mary and Keaton are sick on the ship and
yeah,
sleeping.
I I
While Sari,
actually I actually didn't know what happened in this episode. No one really truly caught me up, other than like saying that you guys went down and got some treasure. So this is kind of cool.
mhm, and Aseli finally getting some rest on the ship as well. So it was the five and Holly going into the town to look for treasures. And that's where we'll pick up next time
Yeah,
with the rest of the group.
yeah. That last episode, even though I wasn't present for it, that is where the party completely left off. Um, so now that you've got kind of everything that's happened already, um, going forward, it won't just be me and Sleepy. We are actually going to be recording each episode of Broken Chains and watching Bloom's Edge Adventures. So you'll be able to see the actual session with everybody involved, and we will be posting these episodes on our Twitch every Monday night. Now, because this is just starting out, and I'm the one doing all of the editing, and I work as well, wife things, life happens, and this is a part-time thing right now. So that might change to Tuesdays for posting of the episode. I'm gonna shoot for Monday nights because we also record on Monday nights. But I have a schedule in mind for this. It is subject to possibly alter just a little bit though as we get into everything else. So we will be recording, as of right now for us, it is Sunday. We're a little bit late, so we're going to kind of wrap this up because we have our Sunday campaign, the Septum Solus one I mentioned, that we need to get to right now. But I really hope that you guys hop in and join us for what's to come. We're really excited about it.
And I hope you guys enjoyed the story that I'm making up for these guys and you guys.
Yes, Sleepy has been such a great DM. There's a lot of detail that he's brought into this. He made the entire world of Voltreya. Obviously, all of us draw inspiration from various different things and sources. So I'm sure you guys hearing some of these names and things like that, I'm sure you can pick up on where some of our inspiration comes from. But I mean, we're really excited. I know us as a party, we're really excited to continue exploring everything that Sleepy has built for us. He has spent months writing a lot of this stuff, getting everything prepared.
I'm very excited.
We're all like super excited. I can't wait for you guys to meet the rest of the party. I mean, hearing us retell this story, there's so much that we didn't like, so many interactions that we can't bring up, like all of the character development and the friendship development and like the relationship development that's happening amongst the party, and just everyone's individual personality kind of coming out and people's history coming out. Like, we still don't all know that much about each other. So we're early on enough in that I think we've gotten through 16 episodes of what we've actually got.
17 episodes, yeah.
17 sessions we've had. So we just summed up 17 full sessions. So as you can imagine, it's like this
so
particular pilot is like us taking a book and turning into a movie adaptation, just so we can get you guys caught up. Think of it as our prequel episode. This is everything that's led up to the next session that you guys are going to get to watch. So I really hope you enjoyed it, and I really hope we can see you around. If you guys want to follow us on other places and follow us on the Coffee account as well, Coffee, Ko-Fi. I don't actually know how it's supposed to be said, and I interchange both of them. So someone please correct me, because I don't actually know what the fuck it's supposed to be called. But hit the link tree if you're watching this currently on Twitch as the rerun episode. Then hit the link tree. It's got links to the few other places you can follow us. We have a Twitter page that I run. Look, I can't get Mary's accent to turn off now. It's so bad. It's so bad. But there's a link tree. You can follow us on Twitter. That's going to give you some more live updates of things. The coffee account is going to have a little bit about everything that we're doing. There's going to be some behind the scenes stuff. The whole Septum Solus story is slowly being written and put out chapter by chapter there. So going forward, each chapter is going to be one session. So I mean, it's gonna be a lengthy read, but I'm gonna be putting like my heart and soul into it. So yeah, just keep up with it, and we will see you guys next Monday.
Love your faces.
Ta-ta!
In those edge where shadows weep, there lies a tale of old, of Lac's legacy buried deep in whispers that unfold. A flower bloomed in fragrant grace, its petals soft as air, but now it withers in the place where silence fills the air. Oh, the wind still carries a song through valleys dark and wide, a haunting melody so strong, in dreams she will reside. Lac's legacy will never fade in the hearts of those who care. Her memory forever swayed by the winds of Bloom's Edge's air. So listen close to the whispers near of Lala's enduring love. In Bloom's Edge, her spirit dear shall forever rise above. Oh, the wind still carries a song through valleys dark and wide, a haunting melody so strong, in dreams she will reside. Oh, the wind still carries a song through valleys dark and wide, a haunting melody so strong, in dreams she will reside. She will reside. In dreams she will reside. So listen close to the whispers near of Lac's enduring love. In Bloom's Edge, her spirit dear shall forever rise above.